Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back for another brand new episode of the Beyond Expectation podcast with your two most favorite co-hosts in the entire world and galaxy, my boy Brett, myself Eduardo, and check out the sweet banner. It's back for its return. If you haven't checked out our latest episode, go check it out. We had a phenomenal time with the homies, Hector and Eric and Cheyenne and Filthy Wicked, right?
Yeah, Shion.
My apologies, but it was a phenomenal episode. Brett, what did you think about it, man?
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was lit from beginning to end.
Yeah.
There were so many different surprises too, like where the conversation kind of went, and and the thing about having Hector on, Hector, I love you, bro. He always comes with something new.
Yes.
Eric, always, like, Eric is so into the weeds with all this UAP phenomena, all that kind of stuff. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, like those two, I am so impressed by everything they bring to the table. So thank you guys. That was huge. And Filthy, definitely got to get Filthy and Shion on here. Definitely each of you have your own episode, because the conversations I had with both of you have been amazing. So definitely something I want for us to share here and with you guys.
Definitely. Boo Panther 2 and your family for inviting us to your restaurant.
Yes.
Definitely showed us some awesome hospitality, and thank you again. And also go check it out. Five Rivers Restaurant. I
accidentally said Everett Mall Wave. It's actually Evergreen Wave. So.
Yeah, I think I corrected. I think I put the what is a little subtitle just correcting the address.
Last episode, it's in the writing.
He was pretty faded too, by the way. There, he was pretty parked, so you can't remember that much. Right?
Oh, dude, you get that much curry in me? I'm unpredictable.
Yes, but definitely go check it out on major streaming platforms. But brother, here we are back again. It's been a couple weeks since the last time we've chalked it up and just kind of continued on the pathway of life. But a lot of things are going on in this world. A lot. I'll just say that. Okay. I mean, the stuff that it's obvious out there, of course, with the LA riots, and as of today, who struck first? Israel struck first. A lot of craziness. So on this episode, we are going to go everywhere. And of course, on this podcast, we like to dive into the most randomest topics beyond from what you expected. Of course, that's what the name of the podcast. But we just like to talk about the randoms that's going on in this crazy world that we live in, and just try to make light of the situation. Because of course, in life, a lot of good things happen, a lot of bad things happen. But here we are, two guys just trying to get you through just the heavy storm, and just try to truck on through, and just try to give you our perspective, and just kind of bring to light certain things that are probably not getting as much shine as other stuff, right?
Sure.
And just talk about it. Just like as you would talk about it with your coworker, your friend, the person next door, the person you run into the gym, the person you run into the store. Yep. So yeah, let's jump right in. So brother, what do you have? What do you have on the agenda today that you want to bring to the table with our lovely?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for what you did bring to the table.
Yes.
Our drink.
Scissor.
And you know what I love about this drink? It's full of ice.
Jesus Christ. Here we go.
I haven't even drank it yet, and I know I'm going to love it.
Right out the gate. Right out the gate.
Full of ice. Did I ever tell you I'm a big fan of ice? I mean, it's just, I love it. It really helps the drink.
Especially for me now that I'm sweating right now, and it's kind of warm. It was warm earlier, but now
it's going to get hotter.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden, these clouds kind of took over. But yeah,
you tell me this is a Lotus. I've never had a Lotus before.
Yes,
and it's so funny you bring it up, because I was driving by the other day and I said, "Oh, I don't know what a Lotus is," but they're always selling. They're always advertising them.
So like I said, it's the kind of what they say, it's the healthier alternative to Red Bull. So they say, if anybody that's watching, listening to this podcast, let us know. Do you like Lotus over Red Bull, or Red Bull over Lotus? And is it that much healthier as what they say it is? Supposedly it's the healthy alternative, but I don't know, man.
Isn't it made with Red Bull?
No, it's not. It's actually like, I want to say if it's in liquid form or powder form, one of the two. But yeah, man, it's
good.
Yeah.
Well, but the ice definitely makes it better.
I'm guessing that's going to be the first subject on this episode that we're going to talk about.
We can go anywhere.
Okay. No, I'll let you take the wheel on this, man. I'm game for whatever, of course. Wherever you want to steer the ship, I'm your first class mate, so I'll just go where the ship takes us, bro.
Well, before we get too crazy with everything, we're going to go into the weeds a little bit.
Yes.
But really, just overall, this is an entertainment platform. What we want to do is we mainly want to entertain, and But we also want to educate, right?
Yes. Yes.
There are a lot of different things going on that the normies, right? The normies are like most of you out there. And there's nothing wrong with being a normie. I wish I was a normie because life, ignorance is bliss, as
yep.
the saying goes. And there are but here's what happens sometimes you get hit with a left hook and you're like, what was that?
Whoa.
Right? And the left hook in this case is the massive psyop that is going on and it's a multi-prong approach. So you don't even know how you're getting hit and who's hitting you and what the reasoning is that you're getting hit with it. But there is a massive, massive psyop. And I'm not even going to say that I know exactly everything going on either. Except for I've seen enough history that to know that what we are experiencing right now as a country and possibly the world is a massive psyop. And I think it's in the form of illegal immigration. I think it is by design because it's not just America. Have you been paying attention to Ireland lately?
Yeah, there's also been massive protests. I don't know if it's one or the same thing, but I did see something about they were at the Union Hall, or not the Union Hall, the hall or somewhere at some building where they were demanding free housing, all this free stuff.
Right.
Is that what we're talking about? The same
There's
thing?
that, but there's also the crime that again, guys, pay attention. There's patterns going on that you guys need to be aware of. These crimes by these migrants. We're talking the bad crimes, right? The R's, the SAs, right? These and the videos that are coming out. It's horrific. It's horrific, and so what you're seeing is it's always the same thing. It's these migrants that are coming from these countries, these third world countries. They're coming from impoverished nations, often ridden with war, you name it. And they're all being shipped out. Military aged men, by the way, and they're sending them to these countries. Well, a lot of when they're going into these European countries or America or Canada or Australia, you name it, but countries that are often European, then they are creating this huge ruckus. Well, what has happened is there has been so much migration that now the local population, the native population, if you will, is starting to feel the ramifications and the adverse effects of what this over migration is happening. Now, this migration is being funded. And there's a common name that keeps coming up all around the world. So now we are at this point, at this juncture in history where people are starting to fight back. So what you're seeing is under Trump and his America First, his nationalist view of America is you're starting to see that shape and take mold. You're seeing it happen in Ireland right now. Conor McGregor, he's running for president in Ireland, and he is calling it out, just as Trump has been calling it out in the United States. And up in Canada, their liberal president won, but their right wing, their conservative president or prime minister, the guy running for the job, he was trying to call all this stuff out. But it's happening. So it's all happening at once, at the same time. And you just have to ask why. So that's how I wanted to preface all of this before we jump into it. But that is just prepare for the psyop because if you don't know, and if you're not aware of what's going on, you could find yourself in a situation where you're being used as a pawn to some billionaire's game where it doesn't matter what happens to you. It doesn't matter. You can get hurt, you can get maimed, you can get arrested. And right now in America, we police in a lot of southern states are saying enough of this. We're not putting up with the protesters anymore.
Especially in Florida,
we
too.
put up with it in one administration where there was no punishment.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen this time around. And then you have the feds that have also said, we're not doing it. We're not going to put up with this time around. So don't, please, if you're looking at the last protest, the Minneapolis, all the BLM riots, Chaz Chop, all that kind of stuff, this ain't the same. 2.0 is not going to be what you think it's going to be. And you don't want to find yourself in that situation. So that's why we ourselves, now this, by the time this is aired, the massive protests that we're going to go into will have already happened. But just for when this does release, neither one of us are going to be anywhere near a city. We're not partaking.
Nope.
We are not taking anything
no.
for or against. Because here's the other thing in these protests, we'll talk about more, but there's talk because the people are really like these evil billionaires, George Soros, Christy Waltons, and your all your other NGOs. Who's the guy? I forget his name, but anyway, he's the guy that calls himself a pastor or something in New York. Al something Sharpton. Yeah, Reverend. He calls himself a Reverend. Yeah. So all those people, they're all trying to use everybody, and so. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say with that, but
You just kind of want to set the precedence of just kind of before we jump into this and just talking about the rights, the No King's rights supposed to take place here. We're recording this on the 13th, Friday the 13th. So again, my boy said by the time this airs, hopefully it'll air on a Monday or Tuesday. We'll see when this comes out. But that's already taken place. But we've talked about that kind of a little bit off air, right? If one of us were planning to go, and we're both not going to partake, and I just want to put this out too, just because this is my platform as much as it is Brett's, and me, being a fellow Hispanic.
Are you Hispanic?
It's of course, man.
I don't see color. I've always judged him by his character.
No, but I just want to definitely say this. It's I try not to really look at what's going on within social media and just in regards to this, just because it's a lot of people definitely, calling other Hispanics out for not talking enough about it. And it's kind of wild to me to think that, first of all, people need to realize that we're in America first and foremost, and it's kind of your freedom and your right. If you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to talk about it. But if you don't have to. So nobody's going to be pressing, I don't like this whole pressing others to talk about certain things they don't want to even, discuss. Like maybe they do amongst their close friends or whatever, but especially for big time content creators or people on a massive scale of a platform, they're almost being like bullied into talking about this stuff and bringing awareness to it. I mean, I'm sure there's enough awareness to begin with because it's all over social media first and foremost. So, I mean, like, I get it. It's like you wish other people would talk about it as much as others, but at the end of the day, you cannot make others really, discuss things they don't want to discuss. It's their right, their freedom to do so, and that's that. I hate this whole notion of if you don't do it, they look at you as the enemy, and that's it's just BS to me personally. That's my opinion, of course. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their beliefs, and everybody's going to have their perspective on certain things. So whether you're attending, whether you're not, hey, that's your decision. That's your choice. By all means, I really don't look at you any different. But I will say this, and I've said this quote many times in the things that me and Brett kind of sent ourselves back and forth. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's pretty much how it's going to all play out at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. So if everybody's out there and they're an innocent bystander and they get caught up in the mix, you were there at the wrong place at the wrong time. But, hopefully that's out there, you just do right and actually peacefully protest. Cool. That's your freedom. That's your right to do that. Then so be it, But at the end of the day, I'm just not with this whole BS of chaos and destruction that it brings. It's just kind of embarrassing, to be honest, because I mean, you're here in this country that you are even like, it's almost like they're giving you a slap in the wrist to do that, but go try that somewhere else and see how that plays out for you. That's all I got to say, really. I mean, it's not going to be too sweet for, other folks that try to do that in other countries. So just be appreciative in the country you're at, first and foremost, man. I mean, it's kind of wild to me that this is getting taken to the point where, this moment we're living in right now, it's being used for the wrong things, and, like I said, if you're going to do things the right way, do things the right way. I mean, there's good ways to go about it. But if you're on the opposite side of just, like I said, chaos and destruction, I'm not with that, and I'm sure my boy isn't too. So that's the kind of what I wanted to say about this. So yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh man, that's I really didn't expect that to go in that direction, but I'm glad you said that. And it kind of made me, when you were talking about all that, kind of made me think of something.
Yeah.
I haven't called my white people out yet.
Yeah.
You know? And here's the white people I want to call out. Right? People from my race. I'm talking to the white liberals that are using other races to go. You know, you guys, and the white liberals, who are you? You're the affluent. You're going to these universities that you guys, no matter what, you're making 6 figures a year. Doesn't matter to you. But you're using other races as your pawns, as your tokens, and you're doing it. You know how to do it. And Martin Luther King Jr. warned us about you, and here it is in 2025, and America as a country has still not learned her lesson that the white liberal is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to this country. So I'm calling you out. You know,
the horns are coming out.
I mean, I don't ever, I really never go on the racial end of things, just because I've always, I know that, it's not fair in a lot of cases. A lot of people get a bad rap for being a certain color or having a certain background. And I've met so many different people in my life that I've seen enough that I'm like, okay, so there is a stereotype. But when you get to know people on a personal level, some of those stereotypes, a lot of those stereotypes end up kind of fading away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, not saying that some don't exist. If there's stereotypes about white people and Thanksgiving, that our food sucks and it's bland. You know what I mean? I've done enough Thanksgiving. I get it.
No seasoning and all that. It's like, and it's like for us, it's like we don't we have Thanksgiving, but there's no turkey. So what's the point? Like, it's like the main thing that we talk about, like when when you think about Thanksgiving, the turkey, but there's no turkey in sight. I'm like, okay. So it's like any other dinner for us, what I'm saying? Just with family, and it's just a much bigger thing. But anyways, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but and that's the other thing too. And we I guess we are kind of fortunate in the sense that we live in an area in Washington on the, what do you call it? The West Coast, right?
Yeah. Technically, that's what they call it, the West Coast, right?
West Coast, baby. But we are, whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. You pretty much, you're accepting it. If you're here with all of the different cultures and backgrounds and religions and lifestyles that are here, you're exposed to everything. So you get to see it. You don't, like when I lived in Montana, everything that I knew, or most of what I knew about people, it was just whatever I saw on MTV. It was whatever I saw in the movies, whatever.
Same for me, dude. When I was in a little small town, it's crazy you say that. It was the same thing until you really move to the city and you're exposed to just the different cultures, different people that are here. It was definitely very eye-opening for me, because it's like, oh, damn, there's Asian people, there's African American. I was like, well, it was just like a culture shock for me, to be honest.
And what TV, like if you are living on TV, right, they're going to have you think that if you are MAGA, that if you cannot be MAGA in the city. Guess what, bro?
Yeah.
You know how many people I tell that I know, dude, that I know just really don't like Trump by any means. They know I'm MAGA.
Yeah.
And they know that, I believe things that I believe, and I'm all with it, and they're still cool.
Yeah.
Like there's no beef. There's no animosity. They're not spiking my drink. They're not slashing my tires and scratching my Tesla and, all that kind of stuff. They're not doing that. That's not how real normal people act.
Yeah.
And it's just like when I knew that when Biden was in office, or when Kamala was running, I wasn't attacking them and throwing hammers at them and, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there was none of that. It was like, oh, okay. So, what do you see in that?
Yeah.
And we have a civil discussion. That is normal life. But now social media, and again, with these billionaires that have evil agendas at play that they're trying to shove down our throats, and they're trying to condition us. It's a psyop. They're trying to make you believe that is. And I'm telling you, You're seeing it right here. We can have different views, but we can still get together.
Yeah.
And we can still have a normal conversation. Good life.
Yeah. I think it's crazy just when it gets to the point, and I've seen it play out firsthand where certain individuals don't talk to other individuals if just on the political standpoint they don't come to an agreement, or they see someone like something that they don't agree with. That's enough to cut somebody completely off. And by any means, it's like, for me to see that, if that's something for you, if that shows me as a person that you're willing to cut someone off completely because of one thing, that says enough for me as a person, like, looking at you as a person, to be like, at the end of the day, that's nothing. That's not my loss. Then, if they're gonna go that far for something like that, where we can't be civil people, to where if we disagree, that's cool. Life's gonna go on. We don't gotta hate each other at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, like you said, that's quote unquote the normal thing to do. But like you said, with social media and everything, it just makes this so much like a time ticking bomb, where it gives more fuel to the fire, where it's like almost triggering people to the point of cutting these certain relationships with different people. And it's just crazy to me. I can't get with that, to be honest. I cannot get with that. I'll never understand it, nor I want to, because I don't even want to be involved with that, Right. And it's like me and you, like, we keep our circle so pretty small. Like, we know a few people that we do talk to, and are open with, but it just takes that level of set where, if you see people cutting off others, where just because of something that they don't agree with, I mean, do you want to be friends with somebody like that? Just because like that one thing is going to make you decide that quickly? It's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's, yeah. No, I think you definitely nailed it. So anyway, with that said, guys, do you want to jump into,
over, brother.
The first thing, so let's talk about Seattle first.
Lovely Seattle.
Seattle is a funny city. It is a funny city. It's just like, it's so, like, I've been to a lot of different cities in the country, and like, sometimes I abhor the fact that I live so close to Seattle. Because like, if there is a city that is the antithesis of me as a person, it is Seattle. Like, it's literally a dumpster fire of needles, like, just craziness.
It's definitely changed over time.
I mean, like Antifa, right? That, like, they are, like, when you see them one-on-one, they'll never challenge you. They'll only challenge you when they cover their faces, they're dressed all in black, and they're and they're rolling in mobs, right? It's just mob rule with those guys. And they're completely reckless. But they're anarchists. And the thing about anarchy is anarchy has never worked in a civilization, and yet that has been their tactic. And the reason why they are so prevalent up here is because the law enforcement, the mayor, and the governor, none of them do anything to stop them.
Wild.
None of them. And in fact, I think it was Obama, when he was the president, he did something to where he held the police, like the police had done, like there was riot out of control or whatever. They got in a bunch of trouble because Obama saw everything, and then they punished the police for trying to keep everybody in line, right? It was a riot, and the police were responding to the riot, and then Obama got in charge. So then somebody from his administration ended up becoming Mayor Durkin, Jenny Durkin. Okay. She was his, I believe, attorney general. She was in his administration. I don't know. Don't quote me on exactly what role, but I thought she was an attorney of some sort. But I thought it was an attorney general, but maybe it wasn't. But anyway, doesn't matter. She becomes the mayor, and so they're talking about big police reform. It was her that was the mayor under the BLM riots, the Summer of Love, as everyone knows it, where they took over this like these 4 city blocks or whatever.
Yeah.
What's that? Cal Anderson Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they tried to call it an autonomous zone and
Chaz.
whatever. And they almost Chaz, Chop.
Yeah, Chop.
And then there was a local rapper that was selling AR-15s from his Tesla.
Someone said it was like the real life Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. That's what they said.
So that is Seattle. Like none of that rapper, he's like still making, music videos and, getting all the groupies smacking their, their tushes, their rear ends, doing all that twerking. That's what they call it. Yeah. And they're all doing that. It's still like Antifa is that, like, for instance, we'll go into it. The other day, they it was 2 nights ago. They trapped ICE in their own building. Now, this is the same group, same city. In 2020, they barricaded the police precinct and they lit it on fire. There were police that could have died. And the people in Seattle, the Antifa folks, they were all celebrating, giving each other high fives and, hanging out in Capitol Hill and drinking Sprite. You know what I mean?
It could be a Starbucks coffee. You don't know that.
Could have been a Lotus.
Could have been a Lotus.
Full of ice. So that repeated the other day is they didn't know if ICE was in the building or not. But anyway, they go through and they barricade all of their things. And there's a couple of reporters, one reports for the Post Millennial. I forget her name. She was really good.
There's another reporter too that covers all this stuff. He's on the ground. He's boots on the ground, and he's being chased a couple times by these Antifa folks.
Are you talking about Jonathan Cho?
Yes, him.
Yeah, he used to work with one of the local stations here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you're more than welcome to come on our pod to talk about everything that's going on, the craziness here of the Pacific
Jason Rance.
Northwest.
He talks a lot. Who's the one that does Brandy Cruz? But I forget the one that does Post Millennial. But she's really good. But she was the one that actually saw all this stuff going down.
Yeah.
And like the protesters, they're not protesters, they're rioters, they're anarchists. So I have to condition myself to not call them protesters.
Yeah.
Like protesting is like holding a sign like, hell no, we won't go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's protesting.
Save the planet, something like that, right?
Yeah. Chain yourself to a tree, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But trapping police, federal agents at that.
That's wild, dude.
In their own building. And then there was video of somebody pouring something on all the barricades. So they took a bunch of those Lime scooters, those scooters that you can rent. Electric scooters.
Yeah.
And they showed this lady pouring something on it. They didn't know if it was
gasoline or something,
lighter fluid or that kind of stuff.
That's crazy.
But they end up starting a fire and they end up just doing all this stuff. Well, anyway, so they're hitting people. That was the same day that some lady got shot in the head down there.
Someone did get shot. Do you know if they passed away or are they okay?
I don't know. I mean, a dome shot, I always assume they die.
Oh, that's no bueno. But you see, but adding to that, right? You would think there's repercussions for these type of actions, but it seems like everybody's just getting kind of a slap on the wrist, and the police or anybody's not really doing anything about it. I think I've seen a few clips where they are pushing back on them and putting them in check, but also last videos we've seen where
they're arresting them and then letting them go right away. Yeah. Catch and release all the time.
Yeah. But slap on the wrist.
So what we're doing is I'm setting us up to our first thing is, so all this violence is going on. It's been going on for 2 hours. It's been reported. I mean, businesses are getting their windows broke, all this stuff. It's going on for 2 hours straight of just mayhem. Downtown Seattle. The police finally show up. They arrest some people. I think they said 8 people, which is nothing compared to the amount of people that were actually wreaking havoc and causing violence. But that's just the soft-handed approach that Seattle police. Well, the Seattle police have a chief down there right now, and his name is Sean Barnes. Now, let's talk a little bit about Sean Barnes, because first, what he said, what everybody saw him say recently is, oh, well, if Donald Trump, whatever, comes in, sends in, I'm probably going to get arrested because he has made it clear that he is the one helping all of the criminals and not the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens of Seattle. So he's already drew his line in the sand, says, I am going to get arrested, tells the city that. That's his signal. That's his signal to Antifa and everybody associated with that side. Anything goes. We have your back. We are basically your personal security guard. And if we have to, for the optics, arrest you, don't worry. We're going to release you right away. No, don't worry. So I'm like, you know what? I've heard about Sean Barnes in the past. I know that he's not the best guy I've ever heard from. heard of and heard about. And then I remembered as I'm researching, I'm like, oh, I remember. Yes, he is from Madison, Wisconsin. And he was when he first came in, everybody called him the DEI chief because he was a person of color. But that wasn't the whole reason why they were saying that. They were saying it because he lied. He did not pass the lie detector test. He had a questionable background, like in Wisconsin. Where did he do? It said that he was investigated for creating a hostile work environment after he broached an officer's sexuality during her exit interview. The city cleared him of any wrongdoing, acknowledging that while he brought up her sexuality, investigators did not believe he was asked. It was asked as a question to be answered. Right?
Okay.
And then he was also embroiled in controversy over a wrongful raid of a social worker's home. And then in November of, I believe this is 2023, he was accused of failing to disclose a clear conflict of interest in a report he submitted about body-worn cameras. So this guy comes with baggage, right? He's already a train wreck. But Mayor Bruce Harrell, who has also openly defied and challenged the Trump administration, he also has a questionable past. Before he was in mayor, in 1996, did you hear about this?
No.
There was pregnant woman goes in and quote, steals his parking spot. He pulls a gun on her.
Jesus.
Pulls a gun on a pregnant woman. Mayor Bruce Harrell of Seattle, Washington. Yeah. Yeah.
Only the finest for Seattle, bro.
So that is the mayor is the one that brought Sean Barnes in from Madison, Wisconsin, and he has been the one covering for all of them, and they're all working in lockstep. They're all working in cahoots with all of this leftist violence, this anarchy, the riots, and it's just like so many businesses are leaving Seattle.
Oh yeah,
so many businesses, and just the Pacific Northwest in general. Portland, Oregon,
Dutch Bros.
Yep.
Arizona. They're going to Arizona.
They're going to Phoenix, Arizona because they're tired of the BS. They're tired of this mayhem. And really it's Amazon has moved a lot of business out of state, and much more people and more to follow if this does not go unchecked.
Yeah.
On top of that, we have our current governor, Turd Ferguson. You guys, the rest of the normies know him as Bob Ferguson. We know him as Turd Ferguson. Just passed a $9 billion tax increase on Washingtonians. We have the highest gas prices in the country.
Yeah.
In the country. So and Turd Ferguson hasn't even condemned any of the violence. He hasn't once came in to say, hey, you guys, these are federal agents. They are keeping our community safe. Some of the crimes that these people are getting taken out of our country for are a lot of drugs, releasing drugs into the community, harming minors, harming women, murder. You name it, they're doing it all. And Turd Ferguson, Mayor Bruce Harrell, and Police Chief Sean Barnes are covering for all of them. That's why when you see they are doing a big rally tomorrow, June 14th in Seattle, and if you see a pallet of bricks, I'm telling you, the feds are going to track where all of this stuff is coming. They are going to track all of this stuff, and everybody is going to be held accountable. And we can be proud to live in Washington again.
Yeah. I mean, it's gone out of hand, man, especially when you look at just the destruction, especially what we've seen in LA, right? You were talking about the Waymo cars. Is it the Waymo taxi cars? I mean, they're lit on
Google's
fire.
Cars.
It's insane to see that all this destruction and just people, hurtling just rocks towards like police officers' cars and stuff like that. I mean, dude, when is enough? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, when are these people are definitely gonna see repercussions for all this stuff, and also the internet's going to do its job and find a lot of this stuff I mean, they've already, what is it? Got identities of the one dude that was throwing like Molotov cocktails.
Yep.
And he was this other gentleman that was throwing like bricks at people's windshields at oncoming police officers' cars. I mean, you name it. Hey, I'll say they're going to find you, man. I mean, it's a matter of time at this point. But if like, hey, you're putting yourself in that scenario, so it is what it is.
The thing is, if for the rioters, like, you know that this is just all out chaos, because like you were talking about Waymo.
Yeah.
I would understand damaging Waymo. Google, attack the big guy, attack the billionaires, right? Kill the rich is what they say,
money.
right?
Yeah, they got money.
That's their. So if that's who you're targeting, that's who you're targeting. But you're not. You're going for anyone and everyone. There was a jeweler, a mom and pop jeweler that got completely cleaned out. Got her windows broken. The looters came in and took everything. Took her whole business in a matter of minutes. Because the LAPD let everything go out of control. Mayor Karen Bass let everything get out of control. Governor Gavin Newsom let everything get out of control. They're covering up for all of this violence.
All of a sudden, he seems like he's like Mr. Tough Guy on Twitter too, or an X, talking all this talk. But it's just so amusing to me. You see all these comments just going against the grain, like against them, talking about, man, do you really honestly in your mind think you'd be a perfect candidate when it comes to running for president after what you've done to California as a state? You've driven that country to the ground and some, and you continue on doing it. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, people. That you kind of need to see the results of like how these certain, states are run by. You can tell LA what it is now compared to how it was years ago. I mean, ask yourself a question. Do you really think you'd be a good candidate for the presidency? Honestly, it's just a genuine question. The results are there. Yeah. Do your due diligence to make a decision if that time were to come, but I doubt he's going to make it that far. But it's crazy.
I think it's crazy. Everything going on right now. I think he did. He got a case of the Twitter fingers.
Yeah,
and he's going down in flames. His whole presidential aspiration is going down in the same flames as the Palisades fire and the LA riots.
Yeah, whatever happened to that too? That all of a sudden just disappeared. Somehow we're not talking about that. Yeah. It just disappeared.
We're not talking about it. Yeah. Ignore it.
Yeah,
it's in the ether, right? So this No Kings rally, again, I said it was June 14th, and June 14th is it's Trump's 79th birthday. Mm-hmm. And so that's what they're dubbing as the No Kings. We are not having a king. And Trump has said that on that day, there are going to be tanks. There's going to be soldiers. There's going to be a big military parade to celebrate, not his birthday, but the Army's 250th birthday. That is what this celebration is. However, because we have all these antagonists and these billionaire people like George Soros, like Walmart Harris, Christy Walton, you have all these people. There's a group called Indivisible. They are the ones that are organizing this group. They got $7.6 million from George Soros to go into Indivisible to put this rally together that covers, last I heard was 1,800 cities. I've seen some figures say 1,500 cities. It could be anywhere between 15 and 800 cities. But 7.6 million went into that. 7.6 million. What could that be funding?
That's insane.
There's a lot of bricks being stored. There's a lot of masks. There was a guy that just got arrested in LA for delivering those bionic masks.
Yeah. He was part of like I think they say some kind of like militia. I forgot the name of it, but he was like a part of some group, right?
Yep.
Something like that. But yeah.
But this is so much bigger than just George Soros, right? George Soros is just like the boogeyman to the people on the right, as the left will say. However, people like Data Republican on X and Asra Namani, I just knew her name, but these people are showing the receipts. They're showing that there are 197 companies with $2.1 billion in revenue that are putting this together. The Walmart Harris, Christy Walton, put out a full page ad in the New York Times, which is very expensive, for this No Kings rally to take place. And there are ads going online.
Craigslist too, right? Or something like that. Is it Craigslist?
Craigslist
Like 200 bucks,
online,
something
right?
like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
$200 a day for people to come and create chaos, be loud, whatever. They have attorneys that they have attorneys that are there that are going to bail the people out, defend these people in court. So it's everybody's free pass to, it's like the purge. That's what they're creating, is they're creating the real life purge, and they have the financial backing. Do you really want to do that? Is that really what you want? Because what they're trying to do is create a civil war. And again, this is all psyop. This is all warfare. And this is, and it's a bunch of billionaires that are using all of you guys as the little pawns. So you have top tier Democrat Party operatives. This is not grassroots at all. It's made to look grassroots, but there's nothing organic about it. Nothing grassroots about it. This is all just very carefully manufactured, very carefully planned, put together. Everybody knows. And so they have the pallets, they have the ads online, they have and we already have the pattern of what this is going to look like. We have the cities that have a lot of mom and pop shops that have lost everything. We have people that have been hurt. Both, the protesters. I mean, imagine responding to this Craigslist ad and then getting shot in the face with a rubber bullet. That's what's happening, And then, and so that's what this is. The Indivisible, the group, which is founded by Ezra Levin and Leah Greenberg. They both authored a 20-page Google Doc called Practical Guide for Resisting the Trump Agenda. And so some online have called them communists. I've seen other things calling them atheist and, just basically just trying to do everything to do away with capitalism. That's what the ultimate goal seems to be here, is where they're trying to dismantle, they're trying to overload and overwhelm the system being capitalism, the rule of law as we know it today, to where they can break it all up and then usher in their own thing. So if you liked America prior to 9/11, then you're going to lose it all. You're going to lose it all if you go this way.
So another theory behind these riots and kind of like the funding that they're finding. I mean, they're following the paper trail, right? I think I brought this up to you before off the pod, kind of like just vaguely talking about it. This is all allegedly, people. Allegedly. I'm just putting it out there. You guys can do your due diligence, do your research to kind of look and tap into this more. So Neville Roy Seam. Have you heard that name before? Neville Roy Singham. So he's
he's married to the Code Pink lady.
Yes. So I mean, I'm just saying that they're finding that he is a U.S. resident and he's living in China.
Yep.
That he's also a major backer of the PSL, who allegedly organized the protests, and he has ties to the CCP, who are cited as evidence of Chinese funding.
Bingo.
So they're saying that this money is being funneled from China through him to these protests, and he's a big supporter of the far left groups, like my boy said, including Code Pink, and him being in China. It kind of makes it kind of odd and suspicious that, they said a quote, and I think from when I heard this clip and they were talking about this, they were talking about the smokeless war, meaning how we can defeat a country from within without having to fire one bullet. How would you destroy, right? Like a country, and that's from within the people themselves fighting against one another, creating this whole chaos and panic, and having some type of civil war and wiping each other out. I mean, is it far from reality where, they can play these mind games and just like you said, a psyop to create something that so-called happened organically, or they could just be placing these chess pieces accordingly to where they can create chaos and destruction and just watch it from afar and just watch us destroy ourselves? I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. Could it be a possibility at this point?
This is also the same group where Yuval Harari told people he was Klaus Schwab's right-hand man advisor, and he went on some sort of a speech, and he was telling people that humans are programmable. So using AI, whatever, that our minds can be programmed. So here it is. You get the CIA involved, you get the CCP involved. who knows what else? Maybe Mossad, you get them involved. But America has a lot of enemies. And American democracy, American capitalism has a lot of enemies. And it's enemies that are jealous, enemies that, I mean, we have a beautiful country where we have the right to have an opinion and talk about it.
Yep.
First Amendment. We have a Second Amendment, which, you know, if you come in and you threaten my life, I get to defend my life by taking yours. And we have, I mean, we have religious liberties. We have the right to private property. That a lot of countries don't have that. These socialist countries, they do not believe, and a lot of these backers do not believe that people should own their own private property.
Yeah.
And that was in the Great Reset with Klaus Schwab. That was one of their biggest points, was that you will own nothing and be happy. Yeah. And that is not the American dream. That is not what we want. That is not what we are fighting for.
No bueno. No bueno at all. And also, you know, not to add more into the tip of just craziness also too. I mean, we've heard it before. I mean, I would say maybe you were avid listeners to the Sean Ryan podcast, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the gal over there, Amy, talking about these sleeper cells in the United States. And I'm just saying, peeps, like I said, if you're going to be out there doing all that stuff, and hopefully you're not out there, you know, just creating a ruckus and all that. But I just want to say, you know, people be careful out there, because it could be a whole lot of, I mean, this opportunity could be used for something catastrophic, and we might not even be expecting it. Something could be happening and coming down the route where, you know, there's so-called, you know, allegedly they're saying there's these new terrorist attacks being planned, and they're just waiting for the right moment. And what right moment for something like this, right?
You know, I will say something, and maybe, you know, I hate to say this, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I just want to say it anyway. You get people like Tucker Carlson, who tried to get into the CIA and supposedly didn't, right?
Yeah.
Went into media, but Putin was the one that told all of us.
Yeah, that's crazy. When I watched that, that's crazy.
But to Tucker's credit, he put it out on his own podcast. He could have easily edited that out. But Sean Ryan, he worked with the special
forces, something like that.
Special forces,
Yeah.
but he worked with the CIA. He worked with a lot of those. So sometimes, I mean, this is just the skeptic in me, but from what I've learned with intelligence in this country and in the world, Mossad is very a CCP. They have their own thing. But what they'll do is they'll take someone you trust, and they'll either deliberately, you know, get them in on it to where they're working with them, or they will trick the person that you trust to get into it. So sometimes with the, you know, when I hear stuff on the Sean Ryan podcast or Tucker Carlson, and they're talking to, you know, intelligence folks, intelligence, I anybody that comes from the intelligence, I always take it with a grain of salt. And the person that taught me that was Bill Cooper. Cooper, who authored Beyond a Pale Horse. And it's because a lot of these people are actually working on that side, and they'll how intelligence, American intelligence will teach you, the intelligence officers, is they'll say, hey, give them 90% of the truth, but give them 10% of a lie, but make sure that lie is one that takes all the truth away, that discredits them completely. So that is how the intelligence works. So when I hear about sleeper cells, although when you hear it, you can believe it. When you look at Dearborn, Michigan, and you're hearing everybody about they're taking a city, they want to make it all Sharia law.
Oh yeah, I did see about that. Was that Texas or Michigan?
Well, Texas had a whole city too, but they finally put the kibosh to it. Mm-hmm. And they ended that. But that was a whole city that they were trying to have Islamic Sharia type laws go, and it's like that is the antithesis of what American ideals are. No, you cannot have anything where somebody from that is non-Islam goes in there and has to hear bells 5 times a day, and you know, and they get beat up or whatever happens when you're in Sharia law and you're not practicing Sharia. Those are the threats that exist, and so, you know, it's stuff that we have to be careful with. So it's believable, but it's on stuff like that. I always say, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Although it could happen. It could happen. I mean,
9/11.
9/11 inside job.
It's a yeah. I mean that. Oh. It's perfect segue.
Okay.
Perfect segue.
Good.
Perfect segue.
Oh, yeah.
Again, for those who lost in 9/11, tragic. I mean, that I remember like it was yesterday, bro. Walking in, I was in 7th grade, walked in, everybody was glued to the TV on the news the whole day. It was a surreal moment, bro. Like it was crazy. It was one of those moments where like, damn, at this magnitude level, like even my parents, like I remember we were watching the news through that whole time.
Yep.
The whole time.
Yep.
And that's just how real it got. You know, for everybody that I knew at that moment.
Time stopped.
Oh man, it was insane. But it was definitely such a tragic moment in our history for sure. But recently, did you hear that conspiracy about the third plane?
Fifth plane.
Fifth plane. Yes.
Show did.
Well, okay. Fill me in. I saw it within the interwebs, and I'll try to look it up as
TMZ.
if you get a little summary. But
props to TMZ, man. They got away from all the celebrity talk and all that. I mean, that's just garbage talk. I've always hated TMZ.
Yes.
Because that's all they focus on. Oh, what's Kanye doing? What's Kardashian doing? What's what? Who cares? Who cares? So. Yeah, then all of a sudden they come out with this documentary, like investigative journalism piece on whether there was a fifth plane, and the evidence is pointing toward a fifth plane.
So here's kind of like the theory from we're talking about the fifth plane. Theory emerged from accounts by a flight crew of United Airlines Flight 23, particularly after a 2023 TMZ documentary titled 9/11: The Fifth Plane, which aired on Fox. It gained further attention through posts on X and media reports, some claiming the FBI covered up the incident. Key developments include crew testimonials, pilot Tom Monello, First Officer Carol Timmons, and Flight Attendant Sandy Thorngren and Barbara Brocky Smaldino reported suspicious activities on Flight 23. They noted 4 young male passengers of Middle Eastern appearance acting oddly, including requesting to see the cockpit, arguing over fruit plates, and appearing nervous. After the plane was grounded, these passengers allegedly fled before authorities could detain them.
Yeah, and then there was more. There was like, so first of all, you talk about the 4 people. One of them, they said, one of the flight attendants had said that they could tell it was a man, but it was dressed as a woman. But she knew it was a man because she could see facial hair underneath the, what do you call that?
The veils, like the veils type deal. Like
yeah,
the
they
face
call it something though. The women wear that face covering. Yeah. So anyway, so that she could see hair under there, and then they could see that. It was a man's hands. It was a man's hand. So they knew it was a male. And then the arguing about the food.
Yes.
The food was, I don't want food. We got to take off right now.
Yeah.
And then on their way out. So now by at this time, this fifth plane was supposed to have taken off. Well, by this time there were already 4 planes. They'd identified the law enforcement and the government had identified these 4 planes. They said, okay, ground everything right now.
Yeah.
So Flight 23 never actually took off from the tarmac. They were still on the ground. And so they were leaving. Well, on the exit, one of the supposed would-be terrorists asked, hey, did they hit the White House? And she was like, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. And then they left. So then I think it was a pilot or someone from the ground crew. After everybody had exited, so the plane has been deplaned and everybody's been off, they noticed 2 people running through the airplane. And they were like, what? Everybody was supposed to be off.
Yeah.
But they saw 2 people running through the airplane.
Interesting.
So there was a guy showing people how they could, the plane could have more people on there without being detected. And that's through a hatch, a door that leads into where the electrical system is.
Okay.
And so
another FBI raid and findings, posts on X, such as those by Chuck Calesto in 2023, claimed the FBI raided Flight 23 after it returned to the gate, finding box cutters and Al-Qaeda documents in abandoned bags. The crew reported that the luggage in the cargo hold was removed and not reloaded, suggesting it was confiscated. And So obviously the claims were that 4 young men of Middle Eastern appearance exhibited suspicious behavior, including asking to see the cockpit, arguing over catering, and fleeing after the flight was grounded. A lot of cruise testimonies reported that on The Independent and the TMZ documentary described these behaviors. Manello assumed that the first World Trade Center crash was a small plane accident until hearing about the second crash and warning to beware cockpit intrusion after grounding the passengers reportedly left abruptly. So yeah, man. I mean, Flight 23 was apparently the 5th plane.
Somebody, and then I think the pilot was talking about something where they found box cutters on the plane next to him. So whoever was loading all these box cutters and all that, they loaded them on the wrong airplane.
Damn, that's crazy.
All the stuff that we haven't heard, but also could be evidence of it being an inside job.
Right.
Something bigger than what the official narrative has allowed us to see. So
yes. Nah, man, that's insane. But yeah, that was one of the ones that kind of made me kind of bop up a little bit, like, dang, really? Like this is really gonna be one of those findings now, huh? That there was more than just those 4. But yeah, I mean, we'll see as time goes to see if there's any more evidence of this coming out, more evidence of this, coming out in the future. But another interesting thing I wanted to get your opinion on, because I think you'd be more well informed about this, is the book that came out discussing how Joe Biden wasn't even fit for president this whole time, and they finally came out with this expose book.
Are you talking about the CNN guy?
Yes. But here's what I want to point out, though, and for people just kind of listening again. Politics is one of those things where, obviously, if I would engage in the conversation only if you really wanted my true opinion on it. But on this platform, we just kind of want to give our 2 cents and just kind of like our take on things, just as we hear it, as like anybody else on social media, whatever they read up on this. But my theory, or my thought on this, is this. They could have easily told us this, and I'm sure Brett probably thought the same way, and I thought the same way, that there was moments and times where I kind of looked at Joe, I'm like, I don't think this dude is all there. And it's only obvious. I mean, come on, man. Anybody can really see when somebody's just like, yo, man, are you okay? Is anybody in there, And there's been a lot of key moments where anybody could have seen that from a mile away. Now, you want me to believe that this book is going to be the final nail in the coffin for people to be convinced that, yeah, he wasn't fit to be president, but to keep that and withhold that from the people this whole time, the time that he was there for 4 years, you somehow never really wanted to say anything during that time he was president, up until the very end, where I want to write a book, an expose about this, just to really kind of solidify that, yeah, Joe Biden wasn't really fit to be president, be the leader of the free world. It's insane to me, the logic behind, like, okay, so you're telling me the Democrats really kind of had this kind of in the tuck and knew about it, but in order for you to find out, you got to buy the book, or you got to hear from somebody that read the book, or, to really know the truth. But they could have told you that for free this whole time, but they never bothered to do that.
Yeah.
Isn't that, I mean, for you, take it as you are. I mean, you can, again, in the future, you can vote however you want, roll with whatever party you want, whatever. That's your choice, and that's the beauty of America.
Yeah.
But think about that. The whole time they knew that, but they wanted to wait till this moment for you to find out the truth. But to me, it seems like they were holding the truth from you and didn't want you to know the reality of the situation, that Joe wasn't really all there. So my question is, who was running America the whole time?
The auto pen. The inside.
I don't know, man.
State.
It's crazy. Hey, that's just me, though. That's just me.
Country.
That's just me. I'm not a professional. I don't know all this stuff, but I mean, I'm just using base logic. Like, really?
Well, the media,
it's crazy.
The mainstream media was completely complicit in all this. The author included, Jake Tapper.
That's crazy.
Who was on CNN, who was publicly berating Laura Trump when she was calling Biden's mind issues, brain issues, back in 2021, 2022. 2023. She was calling this out years ago, and he was berating her on his show. And then now he wants to, I mean, this is a cash grab is all this is. And it's him raising his hands in the air saying, oh, well, I didn't know. They didn't tell me. No, you all knew. Yeah. You all knew. You were all in on it. And now you're the one that has no shame whatsoever and wants to cash in on it.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
Especially tossing, just like, you literally tossed all these people under the bus at this point. It's like for your gain.
It was just like COVID, you know, how we had all this evidence. People were playing out in the sun. The people that were outside, that were taking, I don't even know what YouTube is still going to ban us for. So
oh man, I would not be surprised.
There were medicines that got a Nobel Prize for its how effective it was. And you had the government and the scientists and Tony Fauci and Joe Biden and New York Cuomo and Jay Inslee in Washington and Newsom, Kamala Harris. They're all telling you, no, it doesn't work. You have to stay indoors and you have to where all the germs are, you know, and then like I'm seeing it all over X right now where they're reminding people of Gavin Newsom, his law, bringing the National Guard. Tim Walz, when he was governor of whatever crap state he was from, bringing the National Guard in
for that
to arrest people. And the police and lobbying these huge fines on all these businesses that they had to stay open or they were going to lose everything over something that we had a medicine for that was proven, but they were bought off. I'm sorry. They were bought off by these big pharmas for the medicines that were deemed the official ones that were all untested. By the way, RFK Jr. took care of that the other day.
No more.
Got rid of
more.
What, 17 people from the CDC?
Yeah, something like that.
17, and then put Dr. Robert Monroe, or whatever. He was one of the people that was on our side, the side of sensibility, calling Tony Fauci out to his face. And so now we have voices and minds of reason with the CDC now. So thank you, RFK Jr. Maha. Thank you.
Yeah, making America healthy again. Now I can enjoy my Gatorade without that poisonous red dye.
Yeah, the Skittles too.
Oh, jeez. I love Skittles too. You know?
Just don't take the yellow 5 out of Mountain Dew, please. Just kidding. Do whatever you want. Probably bad for me.
Oh, man. But more of the story, again, just use your base logic on that type of stuff, man, because it's like, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But at the end of the day, again, you got free will to do whatever you want, you know. So I'm just bringing my 2 cents into this stuff.
Do what you do and be what you gotta be.
Exactly. Who that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's me.
Oh, that was off the top. Okay, that was off the top. Nonetheless, brother, I mean, anything else you want to add to that?
Dude, I think whatever you put in this Lotus had me fired up.
I know, right?
I'm not normally like, you know, I came in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a cool,
chill,
laid back conversation. Yeah,
you can
check the QR code, people.
Yes. I do want to bring, my boy brought up a good point. If you're watching this on a tablet, but it's most importantly, if you're watching this on your lovely TV, whether it's a 55, 65, 60 inch, whatever, scan that QR code back there. As you can see with your phone or any type of, mobile device you have, it'll take you directly to all the links where available. So with that being said, click or scan that QR code. It'll give you the links to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, I believe, our Instagram, our TikTok, and also, I forgot. I've literally just saw this when I looked at this link myself, because every now and then I like to just make sure it's working. You can also buy us a coffee. So in regards to a donation, if you somehow want to be nice enough to donate something to us, to, you know, me and my boy, you can buy us a coffee, which you can donate. I think it's up to, I think the starting donation is like $5 or $1. I think it's like $1 up to $5, whatever. Yeah, you can buy us a coffee and we'll use it for coffee, or maybe a Lotus. Who knows? You know, something to get us going, amp us up so we can give you guys some entertaining podcasts to listen to or watch wherever your little heart desires.
Yeah.
But yeah, brother, I mean, you want to close this one out, or you think you want to?
You know, again, this episode is going to come out after all of the festivities, but even so, we don't know what we're walking into. Mm-hmm. Just pay attention to the patterns, pay attention to the psyops. Be safe out there.
Definitely.
And just, you know, follow your gut instincts. Your gut instinct is the one thing that you're going to rely on. So stay safe. Take care of your loved ones. Mm-hmm. Think of your loved ones. Think of this country.
Yeah.
Don't buy into these crazy narratives. because we don't want anyone to get hurt.
Oh yeah, no, that's at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you got someone you want to go home back to. You got a family you go home back to. Again, just make good choices, wise decisions, and for those that are out there causing ruckus, hope you step on a Lego and hit yourself on the shin on that steel bed and frame, whatever you call it, because I'm not down with that. But yeah, other than that, be safe out there, folks. So yeah, we're gonna close this one out. Again, click the QR code. It'll take you all the links were available, all major streaming platforms. Go check out our past previous episode, which was a follow up with all the Bigfoot talk with our boys Hector and Eric, of course, as mentioned before. But we'll catch you next one. Stay safe out there. We love you. Till next time, we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.